Hello, thank you for joining Dentistry is Growing with Grace. I'm excited to share with you today the ins and outs of SEO for dentists. So here we go. I've got a list of a bunch of questions, and in today's episode, I'm going to be covering a great deal of information that will be helpful for beginners in SEO or people that have invested before and are just looking to understand it on a deeper level. So today we're going to talk about SEO. What is it? How do we do it? And what are we doing? How do we manage it? How do we make sure you're getting what you're paying for? And why is identity dental marketing a better option for you than maybe the company you hired in the past that couldn't really get you the results that they promised? So stay tuned, pay attention. We're going to get started. I'm going to dive into all this information and you'll walk away with a much firmer grasp on what it is, how it works, and maybe why it would be a fit for you. So first thing is, what is it? SEO is search engine optimization. It's the process of getting your website to come up on top of Google and other major search engines when someone looks for you. And so our first step in completing SEO is making sure that we have the right keyword strategy for your practice. One of the main issues I see with this piece of the puzzle is that companies are sometimes on autopilot. So they're not really digging in and looking at, how does Google see your business? What neighborhood are you in? What will Google allow with rankings? I see a lot of marketing agencies having what I call order takers instead of advisors. So on your meeting, they're sitting back, they're taking notes, they're listening to what you're requesting, but they're not really with confidence explaining why your keyword strategy should be a certain way. So a lot of times you have the client leading the conversation instead of the marketing professional. And that's really what you pay for. So the first thing you want to do is really understand your keyword strategy, the keywords that your marketing company recommends going after and why, and make sure that that's a fit for you, the type of patients you're looking to attract, and that Google is also going to allow it. So for instance, if I talk to a client that is in a big city, you probably wouldn't want to rank for Dentist Chicago. You would probably look more at Dentist in Hyde Park. If you're in Hyde Park, it's going to be really hard for someone in Hyde Park to rank in the West Loop because there's competition in the West Loop. So knowing your organic limitations is very, very important to set realistic expectations. On the contrary, let's say you're in a very rural market and you're looking to be found on Google for all these neighboring small towns and you have very low to no competition in those towns, you can absolutely use SEO to hit neighboring towns. So this strategy is a very individualized process, and it's very important that you get it right from day one. You don't have to backtrack and change your strategy. Another thing to know is that if Google sees you in a specific city or neighborhood, that is where you are. And this is very frustrating for people who are outside of city boundaries. They want to rank for dentist in town, but Google doesn't see them in that town. We have to get creative with our strategy, and we can always recommend the best strategy for you based on your individual situation. So it's kind of a little bit of an intro into what SEO is. It's getting you to the top. To go into a little bit more detail on that, there's two kinds of SEO. There's on-site SEO and there's off-site SEO. On-site SEO is everything that we do to your website to get it to rank on Google. So this includes metadata, microdata, how we name certain files, how we optimize videos and photos. The load speed of your website affects how it performs on Google, as well as how easy it is to find your address and to index your address. And so sometimes people come to me and they already have a website and they're like, I don't want to put more money into my website, but can you just do SEO? The word just should be an indicator there. Unfortunately, in many circumstances, we can't just take over, your Wix or your do-it-yourself website, or even sometimes people spend, unfortunately, tens of thousands of dollars on these custom fancy sites, but they were built with builders, and these builders have created extra layers of code And when Google bots crawl the site, they don't prioritize your site's content because of how the site was built. So even though someone comes to me and says, well, I own it, well, it's WordPress, and these are all good things, there might be a couple of boxes left unchecked. And so we do have different service offerings that will allow you to not have to start over with a new design or a new layout, but allows us to make your site exactly what it needs to be to ensure that we can get the rankings that you need on Google. Every once in a while, I will tell someone, I'll take over your site and I'll do the SEO. But if I don't see the results that I'm used to seeing in 3 or 6 months, we may need to go back and do a redevelopment or really spend some time in the code, optimizing the site and getting it to a place where Google is going to love it. So whenever we build a site, we have 3 people to impress. The first is Google. The second is the new patient. And the third is you, in that order. And we've been doing this since 2009, so we know exactly how to accomplish all 3. Okay, my next question is, how do you ensure that your team is fully doing my SEO and that they're not missing any steps? This company has been built on a very amazing operating system. So in our agency, every single task, no matter the size, big or small, comes with step-by-step instructions, and it is digitally delegated. And from there, it is monitored and audited. So you might talk to someone in a meeting or pick up the phone and try to quiz someone on my team. You might end up talking to a designer or an account rep that isn't really the actual person doing all the SEO work. So they may do their best to explain it to you, but it's important that you know that our fulfillment team isn't necessarily the team that is trained in client communication and vice versa. So the way I have the business set up is that even if I were to lose an employee in an unexpected way, or we get a curveball thrown at us, which is just part of being in business, we know that not a single task in our SEO process is going to get dropped. And this is why we have over 97.5% of our clients are in top 3 ranking positions for at least one main keyword within 6 months, which is really amazing in terms of a track record for an SEO company. So digital delegation, regular audits, and managers who check the work and ensure that it's done correctly, as well as a very robust system where every single task has instructions. Very, very, very important. Most companies don't grow slowly. They get that private equity money or whatever, and they build a sales team before they build fulfillment and processes. We've been very, very intentional with our growth, the speed of our growth, and that has allowed us to never outgrow what we can accommodate in terms of work for our clients. Really great question though. The next question that I've been asked recently is, how do you stay up on Google algorithm changes? It sounds like these things are changing all the time. How do we know that you're not just employing strategies from 10 years ago? Excellent question. There are a lot of answers to this question, quite honestly. The first answer I would say is variety. It's important that whoever is doing SEO isn't a one-trick pony. We want to see on-site and off-site optimization strategies. We want to see listing optimization strategies. We want to see photo optimization strategies. We want to see backlinking happening on a regular basis. There is a great deal of value in diversifying this investment. It's kind of like when you invest in the stock market. If you have your money spread out over multiple things, it's a lot safer. It's the same thing with SEO. So if you only have one SEO strategy and Google all of a sudden devalues that strategy, then we would go out of business. So it's very important, not just for you, but for our sake, that our SEO strategy is expansive, has a great deal of variety, and that we're always expanding on those strategies to give our clients a competitive edge. So diversity is the key to making sure that you don't offend Google in any other way. The other thing is we're very aware of all the like black hat strategies, and we are very intentional about new strategies that we implement to ensure that we're never breaking any of the rules. So it's so funny. We've had 3 clients in the past, probably 6 months, ask us about cloaking. They don't know it's called cloaking, but in the website development process, they've said, can you just put these words really big and make them the same color as the background so that the human eye doesn't see it, but Google can see it? And I don't know who's giving this horrible advice, but that is a very quick way to get blacklisted on Google or to incur a penalty. So, whenever we get asked something by a client, we take the time to explain why you can't do certain things or take certain shortcuts. Just very, very important. And we've been in business since 2009. We've never had someone penalized because of our work. But we are the company people tend to go to if they do incur a penalty. We've had people call us as the experts to get them unpenalized. And that's a very particular process as well. Another thing people reach out to us for is cleaning up their listings. They might have old, like a previous owner's name come up when you search for their business. They might have multiple listings under different names that are hurting their ability to get onto page 1. It's a part of our SEO setup process to audit for duplicate listings and to clean up and merge them. That process takes 2 to 4 weeks, requires a little bit of follow up and follow through, but we've been very successful at getting that done for our clients. Okay, next question. What are some examples of SEO strategy that is unique to your agency? Okay, so if I were to answer this just off the top of my mind, unfiltered, I know that my competitors would all of a sudden start implementing them, and they would no longer be really effective for my clients. So what I will say is I am constantly coming up with new SEO strategy and dropping it into our system so that all of my clients benefit from these new strategies. I stumble upon these strategies in weird ways. So a client might call and say, I'm ranking for this keyword, but I don't really provide this service. Can you help me fix this? I don't want to rank for this keyword. And the process of reverse engineering that question might lead to some insight as to why Google is seeing them as a relevant search result for a service they don't offer. This actually happened about a month ago. When we reverse engineered those findings, we were able to come up with a very powerful, unique SEO strategy and roll it out for all of our clients. We didn't even tell them what the strategy is. We just showed them, hey, all of your rankings are better for more keywords now. We did this new strategy. So we're not always sharing everything we do with you because it's in your best interest to know how to gauge the results, but to not necessarily have every step of our process. We don't want that to get into the wrong hands. Okay, so next question. If I answer this, okay. I'm going to give you just a few more things to look at here. We always search for. So I did talk about all of that. Last question. Why do other SEO companies not get results? I think this is different for every agency. I've seen a lot of different reasons. I have a list here I'm going to run through for you. The first is they have poor organization and accountability with their team. So we have every task digitally delegated, like I spoke on earlier, to make sure that not a single SEO client is forgotten, because we don't rely on our human brains and our memory. We rely on our systems and our organization, which are phenomenal. Another reason why they don't get results is they're only utilizing the basics. They might send you a report of everything they did, but nothing in there is all that proprietary and doesn't really move the needle. So even though they might be super transparent with the basic stuff that they're doing, at the end of the day, if it's not getting you results, what does it matter? So very important that you're looking at results to gauge someone's effectiveness in this space and not just how much they're willing to tell you about their process. Another reason why people don't get results, they lock you into a long-term contract. So if you're stuck with them, really, how responsible do they have to be to follow through on their promises to you. They don't. They can rely on that contract for a year, and when it runs out, you can move on and they'll be on to the next client. A lot of marketing agencies run this way. We do not. Another reason is they set very realistic expectations. So you meet with a salesperson who is financially motivated to get you to sign that contract. And so this is broken to begin with. If someone is financially motivated to get you to sign a contract, naturally, they are going to overpromise and you're going to walk away feeling like the team underdelivered. So it's very important for a marketing agency to be successful that their, I'll say sales reps for a lack of a better word, we call them strategists, but that their strategists or sales reps are incentivized for retention and results, and that they're incentivized more to set realistic expectations than they are to close a sale. And I have figured that out. It's very, very exciting to not have ever had the issue where clients have come in and kind of been overpromised. We record those calls, everyone knows about it, we take notes, and we're very, very upfront about how long it's going to take, what it will cost, and what to expect. That's the reason we have such a great reputation in our space, is that we don't get scrappy just to close a deal. We would much rather have long-term clients that are loyal to us, and we're loyal to them as well. Another reason is these agencies kind of run on autopilot. A lot of times they're utilizing automation platforms and software to like do the work for them, or they're reselling the work of maybe outsourced SEOers in other countries and things of this nature. And they don't actually know what they're doing. They don't know what their processes are. So there are, unfortunately, many, many people out there selling SEO, but they're not really fulfilling it. And they're giving the rest of us a bad reputation. So just be very cautious. Again, try to avoid those long-term contracts when you can. And outsourcing is not good. So it's hard to confirm these things. It's best to go based on reputation. Make sure that you're working with someone that you trust. Another reason why people leave SEO companies or feel disappointed with them is that they don't have tracking measures in place. They might show you some report that you don't fully understand. Your new patient numbers aren't really moving, and you're not really understanding what you're investing in. So, you know, there are a lot of like SEO softwares and tracking systems out there that are not very accurate. And so they kind of satisfy your curiosity of seeing numbers and seeing metrics, but they're kind of BS. I don't have a better way to put it. So Google Analytics is a great way to track your traffic, sources of traffic, especially if you're running Google ads and doing SEO. You could see how much of that traffic is organic and by search versus how much is coming from paid ads and different methods. So that tracking piece is very important. Make sure you set up regular meetings with our team. If you're a client of ours, we do offer quarterly strategy sessions, or more frequently as needed, to just make sure you understand our dashboard and our reporting process, and that you feel comfortable in how that tracking takes place over time. And then I would say, you know, the biggest reason people get frustrated with SEO is they'll be in month 2 and they'll say, I'm not first, I'm canceling. And SEO is the long game. It is totally worth the investment, but make sure when you're in that initial call, if it's with me or one of my colleagues, that you ask, how much time until this starts to work? And what people shouldn't do is set a stopwatch, and then the day you hit that time, if you don't see monumental shift, you cancel. I've seen way too many times people cancel in month 1 or month 2, and we were this close to getting top 3 rankings. So track your new patient referral sources internally, watch the trends, keep your quarterly strategy sessions, watch progress in traffic and new patient numbers more than you obsess over what exact task is being done for me right now, because any really great SEO company isn't going to outline their process for you. They want to hold those cards close because it's your competitive advantage and it's in your best interest to not have that information out in the open for your competitors to leverage against you. So I hope this helps you understand kind of what's involved in SEO and how to make a good decision when it comes to hiring an SEO company. If you're a dentist and you're looking to start SEO, I will include a link below in this video, allowing you to set up a marketing planning session. We'll take an individualized look at your rankings, your goals, and set some realistic expectations as to how long it will take to get the results that you're looking for. So feel free to schedule that with us, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you.